When I ended the last episode, I told you that after the initial 3 months, I've made one mistake. Well, I didn't know it was a mistake, but I stopped doing one thing that had quietly become part of my daily routine. Nothing dramatic happened, but in my second blood testing, my LDL numbers went up a bit. It reminded me of something incredibly important. Healing is not one decision. It's sometimes hundreds of small decisions that quietly work together. And that's exactly how I discovered that good nutrition isn't only about eating whole foods like fruits and veggies, which we know are good for us. It's about creating synergy between the ingredients. It's about their relationships. Foods work together or they don't. They add value when they are combined or they don't. That's very important. Now, your arteries don't care what diet you are following. They respond to synergy of the right ingredients. That's why I stopped looking at foods individually. Instead, I asked, what helps my arteries? What helps inflammation? What helps nitric oxide? What helps cholesterol metabolism? What helps my genes? Because nutrient synergy matters the most when it comes to our heart health. Now, let me give you some examples because what I'm saying might not be really clear. For example, vitamin D3 and K2 need to be taken together to be absorbed. You might be taking just vitamin D3 like a really large amount, and that may not be changing your vitamin D3 levels. Soluble fiber binds bile acids in the digestive tract, encouraging the body to use cholesterol to make more bile acids. And why this matters? Because over time, this can help lower LDL cholesterol. Additionally, different polyphenols, like from dark berries, work differently when combined with plant-based nitrates, for example from red spinach, beets, or arugula, than as isolated compounds. Here are additional things I want to share with you that surprised me tremendously while going through this entire recovery process. I stopped cooking with coconut oil. And you may say, Barbara, coconut oil is good. Well, science does not support saying that coconut is bad or good for everyone. What it does, it shows that coconut oil is actually very high in saturated fat, and that's important when it comes to our artery health. Many studies show actually that it raises LDL cholesterol compared with unsaturated fats like from olive oil. So for people like me with any challenges already pre-existing, or for people with coronary artery disease, with elevated LDL, most cardiology guidelines actually recommend emphasizing unsaturated fats like from olive oil, avocado oil, instead of coconut oil. The concern is pretty simple. Again, saturated fat content is bad for our arteries. It's not that coconut itself is toxic. Let's make that very clear, yes? I already knew that foods that are packaged as, vegan do not automatically mean they are healthy. We need to say that out loud because I see a lot of people saying, oh, I'm a vegan, I eat good. Well, if you cook your food, great. But vegan cookies, vegan desserts, vegan cheese, vegan frozen meals are loaded with coconut oil, with refined starch, with seed oil, and I'm not saying that every single one, it depends on the product. They are loaded with sugars from coconut and frequently with erythritol, which is the worst sweetener for heart health. I always read labels, but I started to read them completely different. My attention was not calories, but ingredients like fiber, added sugar. That was, if there was any added sugar, that was a red flag for me immediately. If the saturated fat was high, out. And of course, protein content mattered to me. And the key was always to look at the other ingredients because that's where the little devils are hidden. So my breakfast changed. I started my first meal filled with fiber, with good fats, and with protein. That's how Rethink Heart Healthy Bread was actually created, and it supported my goals. This is important also to say, not every bread is evil. Why? Well, Rethink Bread does not contain any flour. It contains so much synergistic actually nutrients that you can eat it with so many other actually foods that are super heart healthy. Then I started to make my must-have weekly soup. I make it every Sunday. It contains 3 ingredients, or 4: beets, artichokes, ginger, and then the 4th one is organic vegetable stock. I love this soup. I eat it at the lunch with a different protein, or I have a cup before my dinner. Speaking of exactly synergy, the beet and artichokes are great together for our liver. I realized something very quickly. Even eating an incredibly healthy diet, there were key nutrients. I simply couldn't consistently get enough of them in therapeutic amounts, regardless of whether I was vegan or not. That surprised me quite a bit, because I have spent years developing products for professional athletes. I knew how synergy between ingredients mattered for nitric oxide. For the first time, I started using my own product the way I designed them. So while actually supporting my nitric oxide with Rethink, I couldn't find exactly what I wanted in a single plant-based product to support my cholesterol, or I would even say cholesterol metabolism, even though I was eating a good amount of fiber and plants that support cholesterol metabolism, like the artichoke. But again, remember what I said about synergy. Working with a pharmacologist, I built the formula I wish had existed when my journey began for the liver support. And I also discovered something that explained why my diet alone was never going to tell the whole story. My genetic predisposition. Remember when I mentioned in my previous episode number 2 that my father had a quadruple bypass at the age of 60? I will actually dedicate an entire future episode to genes, because it is very important to understand them and what to do about it. At the beginning of this recovery journey, I already shared with you that I did not believe that my heart disease was just about food. I learned it was about far more than diet. The next thing actually I changed had nothing to do with my kitchen and what I was cooking. It of course mattered, but it had everything to do with my mind. And we will focus on that in the next episode, because I genuinely believe it is one of the most important aspects of our cardiovascular health. Until then, please take care of your heart, because no one can do it for you the way you can.